don't represent Islam. You're not about political policy. Who do you think you are?
We should actually deal with it head on.
Shame on you. Sharia. Do you represent Sharia? Do you represent the Quran and the Sunnah? Do you represent it? Answer the question. Answer the question.
You have heard more than enough what you have to say.
My biggest challenge is the constant question that I'm being asked both publicly and privately about my loyalty to Britain, as if somehow being British and Muslim is a conflict. And I find it quite ironic when, in certainly my case, both my paternal and maternal grandfather served in the British Army. I recognise the importance of role models, and I feel very flattered and privileged to be considered to be a role model for Muslim women. And I think if by doing what each and every one of us here is doing, we are hopefully paving the path to make it a little bit easier for the next Muslim woman to succeed. And I would say to Muslim women that they must choose the career that is the right one for them. And once they choose that, they must be absolutely focused if they want to reach the top.
Shadow Minister for Community Cohesion, Baroness Sayeeda Warsi, goes further and says that politicians have ignored it as well.
I think there has been a failure on the part of policymakers to respond to this situation. I think some of it has been done in the name of cultural sensitivity, and we've just avoided either discussing or dealing with this matter head on. I think there has to be a culture change, and that culture change has to be brought about by policymakers taking a very clear stance on this issue, saying that in this country, one married man is allowed to marry one woman. And that is the way, and that must be the way, for everybody who lives in this country.
Polygamy is illegal under the law, but religious marriages are not registered and are not legally valid marriages. Baroness Warsi says there's a legal anomaly, and it's time politicians looked at the possibility of making people register all religious marriages.
One of the ways and one of the ideas that we've been looking at is whether it would be possible to look at a way in which religious marriages could be registered. So, for example, many of these marriages, which are conducted in religious terms only, usually within somebody's private home by an imam with a couple of witnesses there, whether there should be a legal obligation within, say, a 4-week period to register these marriages. And if that was the case, then those marriages would have to be declared within law. And if those marriages were declared within law, then clearly if the person has a first legal wife, then there could be potential charges of bigamy being brought. Your Holiness, distinguished guests, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and assalamu alaikum. Thank you for inviting me here today to celebrate with you 100 years of leadership within the Ahmadi community. Minister for Community Cohesion and Social Action, I regularly get asked, that is a huge title, what does that exactly mean? And I say, well, community cohesion to me means how we live at ease with each other in our communities. And what better motto than the one that you repeat all the time, which is love all, hate none. And as Shadow Minister for Social Action, I say that that to me means putting back into the communities from which we came. And the humanitarian work of the Ahmadi Association and the Ahmadi community in health and in education and in poverty relief is really the true form of social action, working within communities of all backgrounds. The Ahmadi community's contribution to interfaith work is commendable. I felt that I needed to stand up and be counted. And I know that many, many of you, and indeed Your Holiness, stands up and is counted when it matters. And therefore I'm delighted to be here today to be celebrating this day with you. Thank you.
Sayeeda Warsi, you've written about the promotion of homosexuality under...
I think that people who want to be in a relationship together in the form of a civil partnership absolutely have the right to do that.
OK, fine. Nick Griffin?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين